Hey, it's Adrian, and today I have the brand new Ring Pan and Tilt indoor camera. Now we have 1080p video, we have 360-degree pan coverage and 169-degree tilt coverage, letting you see the entire room. There's also 143 degrees field of view in static shots, which is quite wide. We also have a manual privacy cover, color night vision, two-way talk, and more. Now, all of that sounds really good, and there's some definite upgrades from the previous model, but I think there's a major issue with this camera that will be a deal breaker for a lot of you. I know it is for me. So let's take a closer look at how it performs, and you can decide if this is worth it for you or if you have to look at other options. In the box, we have the pan and tilt indoor camera, brackets for wall mounting and ceiling mounting, USB-A to Type-C cable, manual sticker, mounting hardware, and power adapter. The design is fairly simple and it should fit in anywhere, so it's pretty much an all-white build and there's a good amount of plastic on here. It comes in at 234 grams or about half of a pound, so it's still heavy enough that you can place it somewhere. It should kind of stay in place. Now looking at the front, we have the camera module, a speaker grill, and we have a privacy cover here that you have to activate manually. Now you can see at the top, it shows the lock and unlock position. And when you unlock it, it kind of slides out of the way pretty quickly. And then we have the Ring logo on the side. Now on the rear is a QR code we're going to use for setup. And then we have the USB Type-C port, and this is what we're going to use to keep it permanently powered in. And then taking a look at the bottom, we have rubber feet to kind of keep it planted on whatever surface. And then we do have cutouts here or indentations to fit in these type of brackets here if you want to mount it kind of upside down or if you want to wall mount it. We do have 360-degree pan coverage, so you could see it articulates pretty much all the way around, and then we do have up to 169 degrees of tilt functionality, so a pretty wide range. I'm going to be setting mine up by just plugging it in with the USB Type-C port and just putting it on a flat surface. However, you do have two other options. One of them is to use this bracket here. So basically you just secure this into the ceiling and then just kind of slide this here, slide it up when it's in place, just like so, and then you could just use the camera while it's ceiling mounted. The other option is to wall mount it, so you would just affix the base here and slide it till you hear it click, just like so. Then you would take that bracket from before, slide it into here, and of course you're just going to screw all of these in, and then you could have it wall mounted as well, and you can see you have a good amount of range. So yeah, a lot of versatility for mounting. I'm now going to add the Ring Pan and Tilt indoor camera to the Ring app. So the first thing I'm going to do is to supply it with power by plugging it in via USB Type-C port. And what it's going to do is it's going to self-calibrate. So just give it enough space to kind of do what it needs to do until it goes into pairing mode. So here we go. So it's just going to pan all the way through and it's going to tilt to the maximum range, so just make sure it's not going to snag on anything while you're doing this. And you'll have to make sure you're connected to a 2.4 gig Wi-Fi network as well. So there is a flashing blue light. It is in pairing mode, so I'm going to click on set up a device. We're going to go into security cams, and now it's ready to scan the QR code which I showed earlier on the rear of the camera body. So I'm just going to scan that right now. There we go. And if you don't have a location already, go ahead and create a new location, but I'll click on continue. I'll say this is downstairs, and my privacy cover is already open, so I'm going to say cover is open. And where will this camera be pointed? I'll say into the house instead of into the window. And then find a power outlet near your Wi-Fi router. I'm just going to chance it. Camera is on. And I know my Wi-Fi password already. So I'm going to go ahead and agree to everything here. So I'm near the device.
Now connected to the Ring app.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is to pick our Wi-Fi network. And again, make sure you pick one that's a 2.4 gigahertz band. If you don't know what that means, you'll have to log into your router and split the band or ask your ISP to help you. Whether that be
to Wi-Fi.
Verizon, Sprint, etc.
Setup successful.
The 1080p video performance on here is decent. Of course, when you're looking at it on a phone, it's a much smaller screen. It looks very sharp. However, when you're looking at it on a larger screen, you definitely notice it's not the sharpest 1080p video out there. Now, can you see the entire room clear enough? Yes. Can you make out faces up close and far away? Yes, you can. So in that aspect, the video quality is passable. It's decent, just nothing to write home about. I was impressed with the nighttime video because I had this in a pretty much pitch black room and it was able to pick up a lot of detail. This is with the color night vision option turned on and the IR LEDs turned on. The only time you would turn off the IR LED is if you have it placed up against a window and you want to see kind of outside. I don't recommend that for any type of indoor camera. It's best to just get an outdoor camera so you don't have to deal with those type of issues, because if you turn off the IR LED function or if you disable the color night vision, the nighttime video is not really usable. Here's example footage of what the camera looks like right up against a window pane, so you can see the reflection of the camera on the left side there. If you place the camera up against your window looking out at night, this is what you can expect. Here's an example of what two-way talk sounds like on the Ring Pan and Tilt indoor camera. The pan and tilt functionality is really wide on here, so 360 degrees of panning is fairly standard on a lot of indoor cameras, but having 169 degrees field of view for a tilt range, that's something that kind of sets this camera apart compared to a lot of other cameras that I review. However, the camera mostly stays in a static position. You don't have the option to kind of set like preset positions for it to cycle through or patrol through, which is a pretty big missed opportunity. So why would I be talking about preset zones or patrol zones on a camera that has such wide range of movement? Well, that brings me to the major deal breaker that I mentioned, and that is that this camera has no automatic motion tracking or subject tracking. And on a lot of other indoor cameras that I reviewed, that is basic functionality. It's what you expect on a camera that has such wide range of motion. Yes, the 140 degrees field of view is nice. You do see a lot at once, but if someone exits that frame, I would like to be able to see what's going on. So if you're looking for something that has automatic motion tracking and panning, this is not it, but stay tuned to the end of the video. I will have some recommendations for cameras that are. I had my camera set to the maximum sensitivity, and I'm happy to say that the motion detection is quite responsive on here. Same with how quickly you get the app alerts, and then you could just drag down from your notifications. You get to see that thumbnail preview, and you can also just press down, especially on Android phones, and you can see a larger thumbnail preview to the side. Is it worth clicking into or not? Here's what the Siren sounds like at max volume. The camera does have a built-in siren, but it's something that you have to manually trigger in the Ring app. So if you got an alert of someone suspicious, or if you were looking at live view, you saw something suspicious, you could press the button in the app and it'll trigger the siren. Now the siren is fairly loud, but it's not loud enough for my liking. I would like it to be 2 or 3 times louder if possible. But the strange thing is that this actually doesn't trigger the siren automatically ever. What the camera does have is something called motion warning. So anytime it detects a person, not movement in general, it has to be a person identified, it will play an audible alert letting them know they're being recorded. Here's what that sounds like.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
The live view pulls up really quickly on here, and I'm a big fan of the picture-in-picture feature because you could just kind of minimize that live view feed into like a little mini player that you could drag around on your phone screen while you're texting, reading news, etc. However, if you plan on monitoring live view like for most of the day, say you want to take a look at your kids or pets, it has a roughly 10-minute timeout. So after 10 minutes, it's going to automatically disconnect live view from the camera. You have to re-enable it. If you currently have the stick-up cam version and you're considering this camera, well, one of the major upgrades is the 143 degrees field of view, up 13 from 130 on the stick-up cam. The other thing is that this has a manual privacy cover that you could just rotate to just block all types of recording, video and audio. But one downside to this camera is that it's for indoor use only, whereas the other model is rated for outdoor use. Let's take a look at the full settings in the Ring app. So as soon as you open it up, you can see a thumbnail of what the camera last saw. You can also go into this quick menu here, disable motion alerts, activate the siren, or go into the full settings. But let's go into the live view right now. And that pulls up very quickly. And you could see basically from one end of the room all the way to the other end of the room. So it's a really wide field of view, and the video quality is pretty good on here too. Now, let's go into the full screen and you can see everything a little bit easier. And of course you could zoom in and take a look around to get a better idea of what's going on. Of course, from here you can manually pan and tilt the camera as you see fit. So it's very easy to do. Now you can't just touch the screen and pan and tilt. It has to be done with those controls right there. Now from here, we can also activate the siren here again. We can also go into more, and we do have this picture-in-picture option, and you can see that when I exit the app, this can just live in the background, and then I can open up the internet and go ahead and take a look at something else while this is just kind of going, and the timeout time is about 10 minutes till this will just disconnect automatically. But let's go into the full settings now. In the full settings, we will have to close live view to access it, and we have quick toggles for motion detection, motion alerts, and motion warning. Motion warning plays an audible warning that you're being recorded whenever it detects motion. Pretty neat feature. Now we also have the option to trigger the siren manually, and we could jump back into live view. Let's go into event history, and this is where you can see everything that's gone on. Now you can see I have 29 days trial of the Ring Protect plan. Now if you had more than one camera, this is where you would cycle through the different type of cameras, and then if you had cameras on various floors, you could just filter which floor you want to look at. And of course you can filter by event, so motion, person detected, live view. Now person detected, this is only available if you have the monthly plan. If you don't have that, you're not going to be able to filter by that. It's just going to be general motion, and you can see you have a thumbnail preview on each of these, which is really handy. And I think again, this is something else you only get with the plan. Under preview, you could set the thumbnails to be a bit larger to make it easier for you, or you could just disable them completely if you want to see a little bit more. Like right here, it shows person detected. And we can also go into accessories if you have other things paired. I do not. You can also go into mode settings and just set like a disarm mode, a home mode, or away mode. I generally don't use this setting, but you can use it if you like it and if you have multiple cameras. Now under link devices, I don't have any chimes or anything like that linked, so I won't go into that. And then under snooze alert, so you can go ahead and snooze this from 30 minutes up to 12 hours. And if you have like a lot of people coming and going that day, maybe you're having a gathering or a party, you don't want to be alerted all the time, you could just snooze it for the duration of your event. Then again, nothing with link chimes. Device health just shows the Wi-Fi signal strength, and if the camera's online, everything's good there. Under motion settings, so this is where you can edit zones. Now I've just drawn a huge blue box, so everything in that blue box is going to be recorded and motion detection is going to take place. Now you can add additional zones. So, you know, what if I wanted to drag this pink box over here and I could say, okay, this is for my kitchen view and then this is for the living room view. That way when alerts come, you know from which zone it's actually coming from, but I'm just going to get out of there. I just use one zone. Motion sensitivity, you can adjust this as you see fit to make the camera as sensitive as you like. And then under smart alerts, you can have a bit more fine control, so you could say, hey, record people and send me notifications, or just record them but don't send me notifications. Or same with other motions that are not people, maybe a pet or something like that. You could say, hey, record and send me alerts, or just record. Or you could just disable smart alerts completely if you like. And then under motion schedules, if you're gonna be at home, say you're getting ready in the morning for work, you know, you can just set time where the alerts are not going to be active. So you do have a lot of customizability there. Under device settings and video settings, this is where we can activate color night vision. I highly suggest you leave that on and leave the infrared lights on for night vision. The only time you should turn that off is if the camera is going to be near a window. Also enable the tap camera preview for live view. This is just quicker to get into live view. If you mounted the camera upside down, you'll want to use the rotate video option. And then recording length can be anywhere from 50 seconds up to 120 seconds or 2 minutes. Or you can tell the camera to automatically stop recordings whenever it detects that motion has stopped. So you may have shorter recordings right there. Now under snapshot capture, the camera is going to capture snapshots every 3 minutes or every 15 seconds, depending on what you like. Under notification settings, rich notifications, this is what's going to give you that thumbnail or kind of snapshot preview of whatever is going on in the scene, so you can decide if you want to click it or not. Now it does say you're not going to see these if your device has a weak Wi-Fi signal. And of course you could change the app alert tones. And then under privacy settings, you can disable audio recording. So if you only want video recordings but no audio, go ahead and toggle that. And of course you could use the manual privacy cover if you want to just disable both video and audio recordings. And under general settings, you can go ahead and change the speaker volume here. And you can also change the home position. And the home position is basically after you're done manually panning and tilting the camera will just go back to a default home position. So you always have, you know, a static look of a certain part of the room. The camera can also be shared with other members of your family. If we take a look at the Protect plan details in the app, it shows we get video history for up to 180 days for all cameras in one location, person and package alerts, enhanced notification features, 24-hour event summary, and multi-cam live view. So can I recommend the new Ring Pan and Tilt indoor camera? And I have two answers, but I'm leaning towards no. So if you already own Ring cameras, you're in the Ring ecosystem already, you're already used to paying monthly fees, then it's a decent enough addition. The 1080p video is decent. You have a wide field of view, motion alerts are quick, but the lack of automatic subject and motion tracking for me is a big deal breaker. I don't know why Ring's engineering team would put such great range of motion and movement in this camera body and not have it track automatically. Now, if you're looking for your first ever indoor camera, I would stay away from Ring, especially if you don't want to pay for monthly fees, because there's so many other camera brands out there that have more functionality than this and you have to pay nothing. There's zero monthly fees. So I would look at brands from Eufy, Neui, EasyViz, Reolink. Some of those I've reviewed personally, some I have not. I'll leave links below to pick up the new Ring Pan and Tilt indoor camera or any of the other indoor cameras that I mentioned. And I have a big favor to ask. If you did find this video helpful or useful in any way, please consider liking and subscribing. It really and truly does help me out a lot and I do appreciate it. And don't forget to check out some of my other security related videos or other tech videos in general. I'm sure you'll find something you like, and I'll see you in the next one soon.